without further ado, Agency Evolution, Critical Building Blocks for Surviving the Future, Luke Summerfield from Savvy Panda. I would definitely follow this man right now on Twitter immediately, @SavvyLuke. Savvy Panda, a Joomla development shop out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But also, that's what they do by day. But by night, they are mixed martial arts fighters, literally. So Luke Summerfield, who's speaking to us today, a gentle giant, could program you a beautiful Joomla website complete with cartoon pandas, or he could knock your head off with a roundhouse kick to the face. Be careful. But he would never do that because he's a nice guy. So Luke, so glad to have you on the program here today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, we're really psyched to hear about this topic.
And Luke, before we pass you screen controls, I just wanted to do a shout out for a few of your team members here.
Yes.
Luke's team is Hubspot certified. We've got Shannon and Hannah. Saw this picture come through on the internet superhighway and thought it'd be fun to share. So congrats to you and your team for running through that.
I just shared it with them. They're right behind me.
Up to date.
Yep. So we bring these partners on because you guys are a great example. Thank you for showing this off, and just thanks for being a great leader here, Luke.
Appreciate it.
All right. So we're going to pass control over to you.
All right. So my name is Luke Summerfield, and I'm the Inbound Marketing Director here at Savvy Panda. We are, again, a HubSpot and Joomla CMS development agency in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I also am the head instructor, masterinbound.com, which is an online inbound marketing course. So we're going to jump into it right away. I know I'm going to be going really, really fast, so I apologize, but I know they're recording it, so you can always check back in if you miss something. So I am a very forward-thinking person. I like to think about the future and where things are going so that I can adapt accordingly. Now, I was lucky enough to grab coffee with both Rand Fishkin and also with Dharmesh a couple weeks ago at MozCon. And in the next 10 or 12 minutes, I'm going to give you some feedback that I got from them and where I see the inbound marketing industry moving in the future. So there's been this fundamental shift that's been happening in the digital marketing industry recently. Agencies that have been branded as SEOs are now thinking and shifting towards more of an inbound mindset. And not that SEO is going away, but they're simply just expanding their focus. Now, greatly accelerated by the rebrand of SEO Moz to Moz, but I think we're still at the tip of the iceberg, and I think things are going to be getting even bigger in the future. I'm envisioning that in the future, many of the things that we see in the SEO industry are going to start happening in the inbound marketing industry. All of a sudden, everyone and their brother are going to be doing quote-unquote inbound marketing, and many of them are going to be underqualified. Now, that's going to force our agencies to have to position ourselves as very qualified in the inbound space. Now, you already have a huge advantage having the qualifications and knowledge of being an official HubSpot agency. But with that being said, it's your time to take what you're doing in your agency to the next level. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So I see three very important focuses that you need to encompass with your agency moving forward into the future. So if you don't, there's a good chance that you'll be left behind by more and more agencies, especially bigger agencies, as they start moving into the inbound marketing space and offering inbound marketing services. Now, the inbound marketing world is expanding in two polar opposite directions. And the first direction is big data. So getting information off the internet is like taking a drink from a fire hydrant. And I couldn't agree more. This is so true. There's so much information that's right at your fingertips. But for most of us, we either completely are overwhelmed by it or simply ignore it. But we cannot do this in the future. The first thing that leveraging big data allows you to do is sort through the clutter. The trick is to know how to access it, organize it, and dramatically improve your agency using this information. One very basic example of a tool that leverages big data to help cut through the clutter was recently released by HubSpot, which is Social Inbox. I'm sure a lot of you have already using it. And so this does a great job of cutting through the clutter and making you way more efficient and smarter when positioning yourselves and working on Twitter. There are also a ton of awesome Excel and Google Doc templates that you can get that can do API pulls and database queries that will help sort through and track different metrics from anything from Twitter influencers, social signals, link opportunities, competitor activities, all kinds of different things. What I'm going to do is later on our Twitter, I'm going to send out some templates that you can check out, take a look at, and hopefully start implementing in your industry or in your agency. Leveraging big data will also allow you to cut through the clutter in order to stay on top of real-time events so that your agency can stay agile and you're able to pivot on the fly. So here's one example of us leveraging Fresh Web Explorer, which is a Moz tool. Here I have a search for inbound marketing anytime it's mentioned in conjunction with HubSpot. Then I also compare that to anytime inbound marketing is mentioned in conjunction with Marketo. Then I use a tool called Page to RSS to create an RSS feed off of that stream, and another tool, If This Then That, to send me notifications on this. And I can get them sent to my email, I can have it archived in Evernote, or I can even get a text message. And yes, I can get a text message anytime you or your competitors met anywhere on the web. This is crazy. And you could do the same thing with links that are found on the web. You could do things on activities your competitors are doing, tracking images that you own that other people are using. There are a ton of possibilities for tracking and staying on top of everything going on in the web in the real time, which will allow you to effectively pivot and seize opportunities the moment they happen. Now, I'm going to write a blog about this. I know I kind of went through that process quick. I'm going to write a blog about this tomorrow on SavvyPanda.com, so check that out if you're interested in learning more about that. The last thing that I'm going to talk about on this topic is your ability to use big data to create amazing tools that your audience will love. These are tools or resources that people would be willing to pay money for, but they offer for free. And yes, this may require some additional development work, but this is one of the key things that's going to position you as a top agency moving into the future. Think about it. As more and more people move into the inbound marketing space, and they're going to be over-flooded with content. And right now I'm getting 90 articles a day into my RSS. It's overload already, let alone in the future. And I'm afraid that in the future a lot of it's going to be garbage. So just like our consumers became overflooded with advertising messages, they're going to start blocking out and ignoring your content. This is why valuable tools and resources are going to be so important in the future. So this is an awesome example of a tool that uses APIs and external data to pull together a website report. And I'm sure there was a ton of custom dev work that came into this, but I know HubSpot is getting awesome, huge response from it. And this is the direction that we need to start thinking for ourselves and for our clients. You can also work on creating tools to use internally to make your agency more efficient and making smarter decisions. Right now, we're working on custom deving on all our monthly reports so that it auto-pulls through APIs and database queries all the information we need, which is going to cut down our reporting time from about 2 hours to only about 30 minutes per client, which is awesome. So for more on this general topic, I would check out Jay Baird's new book, Utility, which is all about this. I haven't read it yet, but it's on my queue for my next read. So the second of the 3 critical things to keep in mind in the inbound marketing industry is creating emotional connections with your audience and customers. The reason that this is so important is as more and more agencies move into the inbound marketing space, it will get much more competitive. Your agency may be proclaiming now that you have the best quality or the lowest price or a proven track record. And although these are nice features to mention, these are essentially carrots and sticks to throw in front of leads. This is not a sustainable differentiator. It's only a matter of time before your competitors do just as good a work as you at the same price and have the same track record. Your agency won't stand out, and if that's what you're trying to sell yourself on, you're probably going to blur into the average. Instead, the only way to make a true, deep, long-lasting emotional connection with your audience, including your leads and customers, is start by communicating why your company exists in the first place. What greater good is your company trying to achieve, and why do you get out of bed in the morning? This is going to give your audience members who share that same common set of values and beliefs a central message to rally around. The companies that take a step back and take the time to evaluate this will succeed in standing out in the future. Now, I can't go too in-depth with this topic just for time, but I also highly suggest reading Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. Totally revolutionized the way I think of branding and life in general. And I'm going to tweet out later on today an awesome keynote that he does that helps summarize this book. So once you've established why your company exists, then you can start to develop emotionally compelling pieces around that why that your audience, customers, and employees can rally behind. So one example of this is culture. What is a culture? It's a group of people that share a common set of core values and beliefs. But the trick is to find ways to bring that company culture and that brand personality through everything you do. From your website to your sales materials to social media. Social media is a phenomenal tool to leverage brand building and bring through messages like this. Once you've established a small audience, your job is not to sell to them. It's to build long-lasting relationships and start developing a tight-knit community. What is a community? A group of people with a common set of core values and beliefs. See how this all stems from your company's why? And again, I see one of the main goals of social media marketing is not to start selling to them, but to nurture those long, genuine relationships. We have never sent out one single sales message from our agency to our networks. It's all about relationships. But once you've built those relationships, the sales will naturally come. For more about relationships and social, I'd recommend reading Gary Vaynerchuk's book, The Thank You Economy. It's absolutely awesome if you haven't read it. And Gary was at Inbound last year, absolutely loved his talk, did an awesome job. On a side note, I'm super stoked for Seth Godin and all the other awesome speakers at this year's Inbound. So if you haven't gotten tickets yet, I would recommend getting them ASAP. So once you have all of these pieces working together in a genuine way, you'll create brand advocates. And that is our goal as inbound marketers, to create brand advocates. The companies that will flourish in the future, the ones that are building advocates, not just customers. But the only way to do this is to start with your why and build those previously mentioned pieces around that why. Speaking of brand advocates, that's my Roger tattoo, so I had to throw that in there. The last important piece of a very specific to you and to HubSpot. And this is something that's going to affect you and your agency in the very near future. You have to have a trusted HubSpot developer. And hopefully it doesn't look like this guy, right? Luckily none of our developers look like this guy. But we're seeing more and more custom integrations, linking and communicating systems together with HubSpot, which I believe we're talking about a little later on in this presentation. And this is making things that we never thought were possible. It will dramatically increase the power that you're getting from HubSpot and all of your business systems. The agencies that are limiting themselves by only using HubSpot stock out of the box are going to be left behind. You have to leverage custom development work to achieve more for you and for your clients. One example of this that we're just about to launch at Savvy Panda is a Joomla HubSpot integration, where we're syncing the user databases to allow us to create custom contact properties in HubSpot based on Joomla fields. Then, through API pulls, we can trigger amazing workflow actions based on thousands of actions that are happening on the Joomla website and triggering marketing automation on the HubSpot side. In the future, you will also need a quality HubSpot designer who can carefully create custom, from-scratch HubSpot templates, exactly how your clients want it. As your agency picks up bigger and bigger clients who are moving into the inbound marketing and HubSpot space, the larger clients will want and demand custom websites. They will not settle for stock templates out of the marketplace. Trust me, we work with a number of Fortune 500 and 100s in the Joomla space that want every single thing custom, which, trust me, gets super annoying, but they pay awesome, so we'll take it. And you'll need this capability, otherwise those clients are probably going to go somewhere else where they can get it. Now, we've been beta testing the new COS from HubSpot, and it does offer way more flexibility for our designers to create fully custom templates, where we can start with a PSD, convert these PSDs into fully custom HubSpot templates and style sheets, which opens up a whole new opportunity of design, UX, UI possibilities that were never possible before. Keep in mind, these are all services that you can upsell, all HubSpot services you can upsell and increase your revenues with your clients. Now, the last point that I'm going to make on this is how you need to learn how to build custom extensions on top of the HubSpot COS platform. So like I said, we've been developing on the new HubSpot COS, and although it's way better than the current COS, it still has very limited functionality. So my predictions are that after the COS initial release, HubSpot's probably going to start working on adding some basic functionality like galleries, slideshows. So with this, I would urge you to go on ideas.hubspot.com so that you can submit your ideas on what you want to see them build into the COS core. However, the other feeling that I have that's going to happen is they're going to open up the ability for developers to design custom extensions to install on top of the HubSpot COS. So this is going to allow you to build things like fully functional calendars with event registration, or maybe a member subscription system, all managed, all tied together within your HubSpot backend. Or maybe you could develop backend extensions, things like improving backend functionality in terms of SEO management, social media integrations, new contact features. At this point, your HubSpot website could become more functional and more integrated than a WordPress or Joomla site. And these are all things that we've already been looking into and working on. It's exciting. So you're probably saying, Luke, I'm a marketer. I'm not a web designer or developer. And I totally agree. If your focus is inbound marketing, and continue that to be your focus. However, Moving into the future, you will need to offer these services somehow, or you will fall behind the other agencies that do. So if you don't have the time, you don't have the development knowledge, and you don't have the resources, that is not an excuse. Instead, you need to do what many other agencies are doing and simply find a trusted partner that you can work with and subcontract work to. You can still make awesome money doing subcontract design and development work to a partner. It's extremely common in the web industry. We get subcontracted all the time in the Joomla space for design and development. And your clients will end up with a more functional, more effective product, and they're going to be happier. So I present you all this information not to get you scared. My goal is not to make you fearful of what's going to be coming in the future. Rather, I want you to see it as an exciting opportunity to expand your service offerings and get ahead of the curve with the changes in the inbound and digital marketing industry. When you embrace these things, when you expand your agency's capabilities, your agency will go to a new level into a world of new opportunity. Thank you. And feel free to contact me with any questions. I'll be at Inbound in a few weeks, so if you have any questions, tweet me, email me. We can meet up and chat. I'd absolutely love meeting new people, and we'd love to connect. So if you haven't gotten your tickets for Inbound 2, make sure you do that.
Luke Summerfield of Savvy Panda, if you could hold that slide right there, sir. No need to step away from that contact information. You've got questions starting to flood into the chat pane. So, folks, you just heard from Luke at Savvy Panda. For the sake of time, Luke's going to stand by and answer some of your questions remotely via the question panel here in GoToWebinar. But as you can see, there's a bunch of contact options here for you if you want to contact Luke after today's webinar one-on-one. That's the whole point of bringing on these partners here. So
yeah, I love the chat, so feel free.
Yes, you've been so helpful here, Luke. I really appreciate the passion you brought here and all the preparation and stuff. Like we practiced this a couple times. We did a couple drafts of this deck, so really appreciate you putting out here to help all the rest of the other partners here.
No, it's awesome. Appreciate it.
And of course, this is a shopping cart method. We've got a lot of veteran partners on here. You take some ideas here, you leave the rest on the shelf. That's totally fine. But folks here, I want you to think about now what's one key takeaway, what's one next step that you could take from some of the things that Luke was sharing and expressing here in his presentation. We're not here just to watch a webinar. We're here to improve our agencies and do better throughout the week. So feel free to share in the question panel area a key takeaway or a next step that stood out to you. We'll also send those on to Luke. What I want you to think about also is not just the content that Luke presented to us, but the context. Think about Luke's presentation, the style, his passion, the way he related to his target audience, his persona. We coached each other on that. We worked on that. So,
Pictures of pugs.
the pictures of pugs, a huge strategy. And those are actually your dogs, aren't they, Luke? They're...
One of them is, yeah, the one that was scared in the mirror.
Okay, excellent. So also feel free to reach out to Luke for some presentation tips and best practices. You do a lot of presenting, don't you, Luke?
Yeah, I do. I present probably about once a month. A lot in the Joomla space, but more and more in the marketing space.
Excellent. Well, thank you again so much for that presentation, Luke.
And just to share some of the feedback, Luke, that we're getting when we ask people for key takeaways.
Sure.
Outsource IT custom design, stick to your inbound marketing focus, says Karen. Key takeaway, the absolute need to have expertise in programming.
Yeah, that was a really big point in the entire MozCon the other week is you gotta, everything's moving to big data, you gotta have those resources on your fingertips.
And I love what you said, you don't necessarily have to know it yourself, but you have to feel comfortable partnering with the right folks and really building a support community around you. And we've had other partners say something similar in the past. So this is a recurring theme that we're seeing amongst our most successful partner agencies.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, so coming up next, folks, we have from inside the halls of HubSpot. We always try to feature something about what's going on inside HubSpot from this past week that you don't always get to see, what's coming down the pike. And we have none other